Yetia, Timothy, and Uncoto, Era1 Radio. Oh, and Pampima, Asam Pampima, and Ratumtima, Era1, Yellow Pampima.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back again to House Sports. My co-host here. My name is Samuel, and Jeff, as usual, is always here with us. Jeff, welcome. Today, we'd like to welcome all our listeners today, watching us on YouTube, on Facebook, on our live stream, and other channels. You guys are here with us. We'd like to thank you guys for being here with us. Jeff, welcome once again. I think we're waiting for a Misty Ghana representative. He's supposed to be joining us pretty soon. Again, we like to start our show off with something, a segment that we call Sad But Painfully True. And this actually starts it actually comes from Kumasi Asante Kotoko, which is our national our league back home in Ghana, and what had happened was, during the championship or the championship parade, the usually what happens when the Golden States win the championship, or any team in America or any other part of the world when they win a championship, they take this double-decker bus and everything. And believe it or not, Kumasi Asante Kotoko took Articulator on the road with extremely nothing. And, it's quite, hilarious. But I am going to show the pictures and the slideshow from it. And as sad as it is, our nation ended up with the champions of Ghana ended up with Articulator with just nothing but a shed. They actually had nothing to protect them or nothing like that. So that is what Kumasi Asante Kotoko took to celebrate, their championship parade. I like the initiative. I wish I could actually show the video, and I promise I'm definitely going to bring this because a lot of folks are asking about it. But I like the initiative of trying to celebrate, trying to just bring that, Western world of celebration of trophy championship. But to do it, I think, Jeff, you could probably Google it and just look at Kumasi Asante Kotoko trophy parade and look at what they were actually in. It was pretty much an Articulator with, like a shed or something, and a bar in the middle, like strippers.
Sam, I'm seeing the video now. It's not bad. It's actually pretty. It looks pretty fun. The picture, the initial picture that I was picturing was bad, but this looks fun. It's like they need something with open top. So,
but what is protecting the players? And if anything happens, and someone just
it's not about protection.
Something falls off, that's the funny thing to me. But that's our segment today of funny but painful true. And we always do this just to point out things that we feel could be improved or done better. But anyway, thank you, Misty, for joining. I'm not sure if he froze. Oh, nah, he hasn't frozen. I thought you froze for a second. But today we actually do have a lot of things to talk about. We're going to continue our conversation from last week, which probably was our longest segment ever. We're going to continue this with, I think, is something that we talked about with presentation and some of the things that we can do as a nation, the power that we have in our hands with our national team, as well as let me see, as well as the local league, what we can actually do. Jeff, I actually want you to go first because I'm trying to put this picture up, which will probably upload, very soon. I think it's we talked about the jerseys and we talked about the way that we can actually just get it done. Usually, when a team actually just come out with a jersey, they usually come out with the much more less sophisticated jersey where you can just rock it with any jeans, whatever you have. And Misty, I think you might have you sent me like maybe a jersey that Jeff. I'm probably gonna share it with the group so you know exactly what it is that we're talking about prior to our technical team uploading it on there. And I just want everybody to just starting from a Misty. I just Jeff, I sent it to you, something that you can look at and everything. So, Mr. Go ahead. What do you think about that? I'm just hoping Lacoste or Polo does not sue Ghana, because I kind of feel like they just took it and just put the Ghana Football Association logo on there, and it looks plain. Again, I don't see the essence of the white jersey and not the white color in there. But Mr. Go ahead.
All right, thank you, everyone. Hello, Jeff and Sam. So,
Mhm.
it, Puma is used to doing simple things. This is nothing. It's simple. I think if you look at Dortmund's camp um, attire, they are usually just a normal black shirt with just that simple Puma logo and I think Dortmund. So they are noted for doing that. So I think it's cool. I don't have a problem with Puma. I think so. I think it's fine.
Well, Jeff, I know you've seen the shirt. I don't even want to call it. I don't know what to call it. What do you think about that?
So I mean, I think coming from the conversation last week, you get what you pay for, type of thing. So, um, I will just say this to what Amisi is saying. If you look at Puma, like across their portfolio of like jerseys and sports paraphernalia, like Nike will have like this hyper dry fit and
Mm,
technology and all of
mm,
that. And I think Puma, the way that they started separating themselves was more so in like the fit of the jersey, and
mhm,
because they realized that they could not compete against Nike and Adidas in the design, space. So
mm,
it was more like the fit, and it's like I think they really got a hit with like the African national teams with the tight body fit jerseys and all of that.
yeah.
But I feel like that's for the athletes, that's for the players. Like
Mhm,
once you come to staff and coaching and management, there's not much that you can. I mean, it's like if they were to put, I think that when I saw this initially, I was just like, wow, this is nothing. Like they really just took a white polo shirt and then they embroidered like the GFA logo on it. But I'm thinking about, I'm like, well, if they had put more effort into this than the jersey, then people will complain because the jersey is plain white, right?
Yeah.
So for them to be able to put something out there that is, yeah, that complements the jersey that they put out there, you can't do more than this because even if you put a drop of ink on this jersey, you've done more for this T-shirt. I mean, for this polo shirt than you have for the national team, like the player's jersey. So I mean, to be honest, there's not much we can do. Like, if this is the new art direction that they're taking, sure. Like, personally, I wouldn't spend money on this, especially given how much I know jerseys go for. I can go to Walmart or Target and pick up a white polo shirt for like $4. And it's like if we're standing there and you're looking at all of us from behind, you can't tell the difference. So
yeah.
I wouldn't spend a lot of money on it. And it goes back to what we're talking about, right? Where it's just like I don't think they expect to make a lot of money from this, right?
Mm,
So and maybe based on like previous history, they usually don't make a lot of money from the Ghana jerseys officially, right? There are the knockoffs on the market. Ghanaians will wear the jersey, but Puma is not making the revenue from Ghanaians wearing the jersey. So
mm,
why keep pumping effort and money into something that you know for a fact that you're not going to get the return from? So it's just a part of a long list of items that just goes to show that at the management level, there's a lot that needs to change. And we can't see what is happening fully on the inside. All
mm.
we can see and judge them by is the output. And if you're telling me that you guys spent more than 14 minutes on this jersey, I can't believe it. So it shows that it's not a lot of effort that's being put into these things. With that said, I will say this. You can still win a World Cup wearing this jersey. The staff can still support the players to win the World Cup wearing this jersey. So it doesn't break or make the team. In my perspective, it's just it would. It's I think the whole purpose behind jerseys is there's a level of inspiration and like excitement around that too for not just like the players but also for the fans for them to get be more engaged. If you give them something like this, how much engagement are you really looking for from the fans? I don't know.
So this is the thing, right? This actually, takes us back to, I think it speaks more of our presentation or exactly what it is that we can actually, kind of do. Um, so I'm gonna share one thing with you guys, which is gonna be if our technical team, can you guys put the second slide up for us to further discuss? Yep, Jeff and Misty, I'm gonna put something up, and most of the time we do talk about presentation and everything. And I'm sending this to you guys prior to it coming up, so that you guys can actually talk about this. So when we talk about presentation or how to actually just put our team or yeah, our football out there for people to really know what is going on. If you don't really know the game and you get this ad, what are you going to watch? Like, what is
So this
this?
is for a football match.
This is for a game between Ash Gold and Kumasi Asante Kotoko. And I'm telling you, this is the I don't know why Misty is laughing, but you know what? Before it comes out for everybody to see, Misty, I really want to get your take on it, right? First of all, we talked a little bit about this, and after we talk about presentation, how to get ourselves out there, how to put ourselves out there. Now, we don't expect, the reality is we expect someone with a lot of expertise to do it for us, but we're going to have to do it ourselves. If you see this flyer, what exactly, what's your thought process and what are you going to do?
Okay, so
because when I saw this, I was laughing for like 5 minutes straight. I couldn't stop laughing.
I understand. I think it's they're being creative. You might know, there's a story behind this. I've seen this, and you know, Kotoko playing Ash Gold, Ashanti Gold. They are minors. It's like the Abuasi team. So I think the full picture has it. They are going to mine or they're going to look for the miners and something. There's a story behind it. So and this is the top scorer of the league. He's wearing the
Oh, this
mining
is a
helmet
player.
with it. Yeah, he's a player. He was the then top scorer, and I think he was overtaken by the last match. Yeah. So he's from Cameroon. So I think that was the creativity. So like they are going to the mining town to mine. So that is why this picture looks quite funny. I think they're trying to be creative. I think, to be honest, Kotoko's media team or social media team did a lot of work last year. They're trying to make stories from these weekly games and their weekly fixtures. So for me, I don't think this is bad. They were trying to do something because at least you saw this and you laughed. And sometimes there are usually no adverts or nothing behind before a game, and you just that is they're trying to get people at the stadium. So I'm sure if you saw this before the game, you like to know what the hell was Kotoko doing with this. What's going to happen? So you follow the game. So I think that was the idea behind it. So
Yeah.
See, it's funny. The more you talk about it, the funnier it gets.
No, but I just want to highlight. I don't know if you guys can see, but there are more. Like this is another one. Right.
good.
So
I actually didn't see that. I don't know who that is actually.
When Amisi said that, they're putting an effort, I actually want to commend them because as soon as he said that, I picked up my phone and I went to Toko's Instagram page, and I don't follow them, but I'm going to give them a follow, right? And you can tell that there is effort being put in. Maybe misdirected from a creative arts standpoint, but from a management standpoint, it's like what I can pick from this is one, they've made a conscious effort to put more of their resources into their marketing and their social media, right? Their brand presence. They've paid somebody because as funny as this picture that you showed is, I used to be a graphic designer, Sam, that is a professional graphic designer. Like what they did, I'm like, okay, it doesn't really convey me not having all the context from what Amnesty is talking about, right? I look at it, I'm like, I don't like what I didn't even realize that this. I thought it was more so for like Ash Gold, like the mining company, than
That's exactly what
the
I
football
thought.
team, right? So they're putting the effort in. Now, I think a little bit more direction is needed to make it a little bit more effective. So I can't knock them. If I had to rate this out of 10, I'll give them a 7. 3 is like you're almost there, right? The
Yeah.
3 is okay. Hey guys, just because we're gonna go play like for instance, if we're gonna go play Alain in like in the Middle East, we shouldn't play on like certain. I was gonna say some stuff, but I'm like, let me pull myself back. But we shouldn't play on some stereotypes and whatnot. So even though like you and I might get it while we're in the press room or something like that, the average person will look at this and go, what is this? So we need to make sure that it's applicable across whoever is looking at it. Like nothing hurts to put just a player in their uniform in their jersey on there. So I like it. I like it more so for what it stands for than the actual execution itself. But thanks for the context, I missed it because I was looking at this like, where are they trying to go with this? And I'm on their page, and it seems like it's a theme. Like they have a lot of cool different themes for different games depending on who they're going to play. Can you guys hear me? I think I'm here by myself. If not, I don't have connection.
Jeff, can you hear me?
Hey Sam, did I lose connection or?
I honestly, I am not sure. I don't know what happened there, but I think we both might have lost connection. But let me see if I can actually prop this. But I'm not sure. Misty is trying to join again. Technical difficulties. So anyway, for the folks at home, this is the the ad or the flyer that we're actually discussing. And just to let you guys know, this is what we're talking about, just to get the confusion out there. I'm not sure exactly if it's, again, I think the creativity is there, but I think it's really misdirected, and I'm not sure, honestly. I didn't know what I was looking at, but again, kudos to what they're doing to pump up folks to actually come watch that again. But anyway, let's move on to our next topic. I think today we're gonna make some bold predictions at the end of before the end of the show. We actually gonna get everybody's take on where we think Ghana is going to play during the World Cup, and every single game that we're going to play. Obviously, we do have our first game with Portugal, but again, let's move on to the next topic. Jeff, I'm not sure. I think last time we did talk about Dortmund coming over to Ghana with their legends to play, and we can even get like maybe about 500 people to go to the stadium to watch the games. And I think I missed did point out some of the problems or the issues that we could be facing, being the bathrooms are not good enough, and that could probably might have impacted people from attending the game. But we looked at it today. They interviewed the head coach of Ghana, Tuado, a few days ago, and he actually initiated that, right? But my thing is, in his comment, he said one of the reasons why they initiated that was to actually start an academy in Ghana. And I'm not sure how that is really going to drive the people to kind of be entertained and enjoy the academy, given how everything kind of went down with the lack of ability to I guess promote the game. Ronaldinho had the same thing in over here in Miami, and the
Yep.
stadium where it was actually filled up with Roberto Carlos. Again, of course, I'm talking about Ronaldinho, one of the world icon and everything. But we're talking about Ghana in football. Ghana in football kind of goes hand in hand. Anytime you talk football, regardless of who it is, especially when it's outside of the country, they will definitely like to be a part of it. So I just want to get your take on what you think. Probably could be done better, in terms of, bringing all these foreigners out there, or probably just starting an academy. I just want to get everybody's take on it.
Yeah.
Do you think is the right direction to revive the Ghana football? Do you think is the right direction to actually kind of just get everything, on track?
hmm I mean, I think it is. I can knock it. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is. I can't knock it in the sense that, to be honest, like that is like the traditional way of going about trying to trying to stir up interest, trying to stir up like just curiosity from people around the sport and things like that. I
Hmm.
mean, while Dortmund is in Ghana, as we're talking, the U.S. NFL Africa is also in Ghana,
Hmm.
and like I've been following what they're doing, and they're hosting camps around town. They're hosting, football games, teaching people how to hold a football, how to throw a football, all of those things, right? So
Hmm.
it's all part of it. The challenge for us is like when we try to do these things is we're trying to squeeze $100 out of a dime, right? In the
Hmm.
sense that we don't have the infrastructure for it. So the effort that you put into it, you don't get the same output out in comparison to what's his name, Ronaldinho doing it in Miami. It's like whatever outcomes that they're expecting, they're most likely going to see a good, even if they fall short, they're going to be like 90, 95% there.
Hmm.
With
Hmm.
us, it becomes difficult because, to be honest, as much as like, yeah, you have the big names, Ronaldinho, whatever, and Miami is a immigrant city. It's like the greater majority of people living in Miami are immigrants, and whenever you take non-Americans, everybody knows about football, right? I wouldn't say that they have any less or more interest in football than Ghanaians, right? And Borussia
Right.
Dortmund is like one of the biggest teams in the world now, right?
Hmm.
So any Ghanaian who has interest in football would know of the Borussia Dortmund, and even if they don't know like the past legends, just that is enough. If I was in Ghana, I'm not a Borussia Dortmund fan. Sam, like we're about to go watch Manchester City just because I'm a fan. They're here. I don't even know who's gonna be there. It's just the experience is what people are going for,
Right.
but it's how you deliver it. It's how you go about it, right? So if you're not going about it in a way where it's like people are able to actually like there's a process in place, people are actually able to buy tickets, go to the stadium, and people know that if I go to the stadium, like these are stadiums that most Ghanaians who live wherever they're holding the games are familiar with. So to them, it's just like there's not anything crazy about it because it's like is Borussia Dortmund coming is going to give you the same experience as Mediama stars coming to play there. So there really isn't much happening around it, right? And I
Hmm.
think to me that's where it's like if you look at football in general, there there's a lot. If you look at sports, I think, and this is just my personal take, is that we in Ghana across the African continent, I think we acknowledge that sports is like a big tool to use
Hmm.
to drive the economy, to use to drive tourism, to use to drive, like public perception of your country and all of that. But as much as we believe that, we always fall short in the investments that we actually make in it.
Yeah.
So we know that, oh, football is like a big tool to, improve, even if it's just PR or even if it's just like foreign relations between two countries, right? You can use football to do that. It's a tool you can use for a lot of things.
Hmm.
But when you come into our country and you see our facilities, you see how much we actually invest in it. It's like, wow, the thing that you guys keep saying, do you really believe it? Because
Yeah.
the investment in it or like the level of management and effort that goes into even maintaining the little bit that we already have doesn't seem like you actually believe that, right?
Yeah.
One of the things I've said all the time is you look at these French Opens, U.S. Open tennis matches that they do, right? I'm
Yeah.
like, imagine if somewhere like in Prom somebody goes and gets like 4 or 5, or even into the government builds
Mhm.
4 or 5 acres of like clay tennis courts, right, near the beach
Mhm.
and things like that. If you can build like 6 or 7 courts and build like seating that can seat at least 3, 4, 5,000 people around these tennis courts, it might not be compared to like the one in France or in the U.S. Open in the U.S. and all of that, or these Open
Right.
Australia Open and all of that. But if you were to have some facility like that and you invite the top most tennis players in the world to come and they would do it even out of charity, like
Mhm.
they would lend their support to it. And it's the same effort that we put into this year of return thing, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
There are people who are coming out of their pocket, right? Just because, okay, you know what, I'm supporting this bigger cause. People came out of their pocket. I don't think the government paid anybody. The all the stars who came, I don't think the government came out of pocket for any one of them. They all paid out of their own pocket to come and support something. And I think we underestimate that thing. But the thing is, for people to come out of their pocket to even support these things, you have to have the basic fundamentals in place. If we don't, nobody's going to come and build it for you and then run it for you. That just doesn't happen. And so for me, I'm like, Borussia Dortmund coming to Ghana is a good thing. Like they're not the biggest team, they're not the only team to ever come to Ghana, but you can have all the big teams, you can line all of them up and they can come. If nothing comes out of it, tomorrow you invite them back, they won't come. We need to
Yeah.
make sure our house is in order so that when these people come, the benefits of why they come can follow along. If not, you see people put in the effort and they fall short every time. And it'll get to a point where it's like now that you have your house in order, you're going to invite the big, even the like mid-tier teams, and they won't come because it's a waste of time. They've seen others come and not get the benefit out of it. So for me, it's a good idea. I'm not going to knock it. They should continue doing it. But while there other teams are also considering Ghana, we should be looking at like why did Borussia Dortmund come into Ghana? Why couldn't we fill up one stadium, right?
Mhm.
Because Borussia Dortmund in Germany can fill up a stadium. So, and if the Borussia Dortmund were to come to any city in the U.S., they can fill the stadium. And you can't tell me that people in the U.S. have more interest in football or soccer than Ghanaians do.
Mhm.
So that's when we need to recognize that okay, something is going wrong somewhere. There's something that we're not, there's something that is blocking the ability for people to be engaged and involved in this. And we need to figure that out and begin addressing whatever that is.
Yeah. Thank you. Honestly, I think it's your goal.
Okay, so I agree with Jeff like 100%. You see, I always say this, going to the stadium should be an experience for you. You shouldn't go with one eye looking out what's going to happen. Is someone going to stab you? Is something going to happen? Because this was a Legends game where, of course, we knew it wasn't going to be a competitive match. So it would be nice for like a whole family to go. And
Mm-hmm.
even, but you know what, people, I'm telling you, the stadiums are not safe. I complain. The washrooms are terrible. The bathrooms, I'm telling you, they are very bad. The seats are not even, some are broken. So you think me going to a Legends game, even as a man, I don't think it's even safe for me to carry like a whole family along and a group of people. You understand? If it was, usually if it's like a local derby, you have those guys, the guys around who don't even care. They will all troop into the stadium. But this legend, someone by the like Pram Pram beat doesn't even know who that legend is. So it's the
Mm-hmm.
kind of people who attend these games, and they should, and they don't attend, or they prefer to watch it on TV because, well, if I go there, the seats I'm even going to sit on are even broken. I have to
Mm.
stand. The staircases are rough. People slip and fall. My phone might be snatched from me, and all these things. This is why people didn't attend that game. You understand? The hype was there, and they concentrated more in like the educated part of Accra, where people are in the workers, and those people never attend those games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's not safe. It's not safe. If it was a local derby, you have the other people, the locals who will go because they don't care. They can stand the whole 90 minutes and they don't care. And as you are saying, this going to the stadium should be an experience. Was there an artist or like a popular person performing for even to attract other people to go? No, it was just the game.
Mm-hmm.
So all these things a lot of work should go to, especially with the infrastructure, because today, if most teams are starting their preseason maybe by July, how many teams would like to come to Ghana? And even if they come, would they have a good place to train?
Mm-hmm.
Or you understand? Because I think 2 years ago, Everton was in Nigeria, and it was good for them.
Mm-hmm.
Some teams go to South Africa, and what will attract other teams to play? Ghana is a very big football nation. What will
Mm-hmm.
attract teams to come to Ghana? They send their team managers and maybe scouts here to just look at the field. Are they going to enjoy are they going to play well? Or will their players get injuries when they come? So all these things should be looked at first. If you have good infrastructure, will we attract the first team to come? As you guys said, Man City and most teams are coming to the States to have their pre. It's because they have good infrastructure. They know that soccer or football is not that big there. But the facilities are there, so why not? They go to China, Thailand to replay games.
Yeah.
Yeah, you understand. So I think
And
that's
and the thing is, we're closer to them.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's it.
One thing I missed you said that I want to respond to, and this was just based on the experience. So I was in Sao Paulo, Brazil. We went
Yeah,
to Sao Paulo FC game, and when
yes,
we got there, right, you realize that this is like their local stadium. The majority of Sao Paulo, people who live there cannot afford like really expensive tickets.
yeah,
But once you walk in the stadium, you realize that, and this might not be necessarily be the model that we need to adopt right away, or we can kind of come up with our own model. But you walk into the stadium, you can tell that divide was very present in the stadium.
great,
In the US, they call them the nosebleeds, right? They had the seats where it's like you can buy a seat for $10, or like really cheap. And so like the area boys and everybody can afford to buy those seats. And they're the ones who really get the stadium jumping, right? So it's
great,
like they sell the tickets cheap to them, and they're cordoned off in one section. Yes, they have security and whatnot. But then once you look on the other side, which was like the B section, right? It's like, yeah, the tickets there. It's closer to the pitch. You can see the players more. You can see like the technical areas and all of that. But that's where they make their money, right? And so like the reason why we're there was we were like for a consulting project, and we're talking to like the management. They're like, yeah, the money from the B section is what is used to maintain the whole stadium. So it's like, but the thing is, they have to make sure that those people have a good experience so they can keep coming. People can bring their families and things like that, and still not deprive the, because adding to the experience is the rowdy crowd who come, and we think our crowds are rowdy, like they have flares, like there are fights happening. That's not something that is like just unique to us Ghanaians as if we're just violent people. No, it happens here. It happens. There are fights that break out in stadiums here and all of that. But it's like the security and the infrastructure is in place to make sure that, okay, one, it's like we're able to maintain and control it, and not have it spill over into the whole stadium, and that everybody in the stadium doesn't feel threatened. But then two is like there is a lot of thinking that goes into how do we make this experience worthwhile for people. So it's like in the data B section that I'm calling data B section, right? But in that section, when you go, they have like these boxes, right? And we could not afford those boxes because people are paying like $3,000, $5,000, right? And when you go there are celebrities who support the team who are given free passes. So they're milling around there, and so people go and people just pay, and like even the boxes are much higher than like the nosebleeds, but they're not really there to watch the game that much. They're there because it's something to do on a Saturday afternoon. And
yeah,
so they come there, they hang out with their buddies, they buy beers, they're hanging out. But it's funny because when Ghana was playing Nigeria in the first leg in Kumasi, and like I was watching the game, and at some point they started showing like the big boys of Ghana, in their polo colors, and all of that. And I'm looking at where they're sitting, and I'm like, what's exclusive about this? Like they're
good,
sitting in the middle of everybody. Really,
yeah,
anything happens right now, it's like If it wasn't for how big of a moment that game was, they wouldn't risk coming there again unless it's like, oh, Ghana has qualified for the World Cup, and there's some big circumstance around it. They're not gonna risk their life to come to a game on a weekly basis. But here, it's like, Sam, we go to DC United games. DC United is a horrible team. They suck. Like I don't think I've ever seen them win a game. But even this Saturday, my friends and I we're gonna go to a game just to go, hang out because
Yeah.
it's more about the experience and the environment. But we don't think along those lines. It's very kind of we're not thinking about the end to end experience for a person who's going to the game. It's all about the ball. You're going there to watch the game. So here's a seat, pay your ticket, enter, come and sit and watch the game. And when you do that, you're not going to last. Teams, private teams who do that don't last. National teams won't last. And at the end of the day, it's like the more of an experience that, like you're saying, you give to people, the more they incentivize to spend once you're there, right? And that's how you also generate some revenue to run the team. But until we have that mindset, yeah, it'll be difficult.
So I think I completely 100% agree with the both of you guys. So UNICEF usually have the game. I think England 11 versus World 11 is mostly celebrities in England versus some players around players versus players around the world who actually played in England or around the world. Now, Kafu was there, Nani was there, and a few players were also there. And right after the game, 2 days later, they flew to Miami to play in Ronaldinho's game. Uh, a few players, I think one or two players, also flew to Guinea afterwards, right, to play in Paul Pogba's game. I think I missed the mention of that. Now, this is what I'm talking about, and I think Jeff, you've been like designing before and everything, like designing all these flyers and everything. There's so many things that we can do, not necessarily just expose people to the game, right? My concern is did we really take the right approach? So heck, is it a team called is it Hertha Berlin gave a contract to one of the Guinea players, and this is something that we've all been talking about for God knows how long. So when Pogba went there, he actually did not play. He played Pogba 11 versus the Guinea All Stars or something like that. They played an actual game, competitive game, right? I mean, obviously not to hurt each other. They didn't go in for 2 tackles or anything. But after the game, right, one of the Guinean local players, I think, got a contract with Hertha Berlin. Do you believe? Now, we had the Inaki brothers in Ghana during the time they were, I'm not sure if there was after or not, but they were there on vacation. We have Tyreek Lamptey out there. Now that's 3 players. We have Memphis Depay out there and everything. Now we look at all these initiatives that foreign teams are doing. We look at all these initiatives that even all these superstars are doing to really generate the people's interest. Don't you think we could have actually just incorporated that into the game to actually sometime? And I think we talked about this afternoon. People were during the Ronaldinho game in Miami. Steve Nash played. McKinney played. McKinney is on the U.S. national team. He played for a few minutes. Chad Ochocinco played, right? So now you have the avenue of people who love basketball following Steve Nash. You have the avenue of people who love Chad Ochocinco in the NFL. You have people who love McKinney watching U.S. national because they wanted to come watch. Now you have fans from different directions. Now you can get their attention. Don't you think we probably could have done that, especially given that we have all these new guys out there? It wasn't even a serious game. People were not tackling. Don't you think we could have actually done that by incorporating all these guys in there to really gain people's attention? Because honestly, you and I could both go down the list of the legends of Dortmund, and I can't even mention more than 4. Besides the two, I don't even know half of all these players on there. So like to better just kind of gain people's attention. Don't you guys think it would have been much better to incorporate some of these young folks and also probably just the legends and to mix some of the local players in there just for them to get the exposure?
Well, yeah, of course, but you see, it depends on what Dortmund or the organizers seek to achieve. I honestly don't know if it was mainly just for legends against old Black Star players' sake. But what you are saying makes a lot of sense because there was one in Memphis Depay and Sule Muntari, Salisu, they played the match at Medina AstroTurf, and the whole place was packed. It was, I think it was a good game. Everybody was there. So I think it depends on what the Dortmund legends or the organizers seek to achieve in this game. But what you're saying makes a lot of sense because you and almost all the players were in town for holiday. So it would have been good if maybe they played maybe a Black Star All-Star game or future Black Star against each other, those things. So I agree. I totally agree
Or
with you.
even the local Black Stars, right? Like you always mentioned, yeah.
Yes, local Black Stars against the potential Black Stars, something mixed with old players, but I think maybe the organizers just wanted to do something. No, I'm very sure they're not expecting a packed stadium because the kind of players who were there, most of us didn't grow up seeing them. You understand? Definitely, maybe they just did it for the papers or for.
No,
Jeffy,
I think one thing one thing you said I completely agree with is, and sorry, like for me, I approach everything from a business mindset, which is like when you're starting out anything, you first have to think about what is my objective, and that's what you said. It's like what were they trying to achieve?
Yes.
If whatever your objective is, you start with that, and then you work your way back. Okay, if we're trying to pack a stadium, what do we need to do? Who do we need to invite? Who's going to pack a stadium, right? And if the average person, like this is the average African right now, like is like what I think 34 years old or something like that. We're a young continent, so between us, again, none of us know the old Black Stars. I mean, we know that Betty Pillars and the popular names Stephen Appiers and whatnot.
Yeah.
But once you take Borussia Dortmund, I don't know one. Two other guys I didn't even know who he played for. Borussia Dortmund, right? So it's like, who are you trying to attract? And the reality of it is, if we're criticizing what they did, right? It's again, I've made the statement that I can knock it, I support it. But if we're kind of like just analyzing it, right? If you're trying to invite like the people, you're trying to fill the stadium with people who can recognize these players, like my father's age and all of them. When was the last time they went to a stadium?
There you go.
They're the ones who will tell us, man, go stadium. Don't go to the stadium because it's dangerous. So now, why are you trying to pull together an event that is targeting them as the audience, right? And I think it speaks to the broader thing, which kind of goes back to something I was saying with the whole Sao Paulo example, which was when it comes to sports, right? Sports is the great equalizer, right? You can go to a stadium and sit next to a billionaire. Yeah, he might have a better seat than you, but at the end of the day, your experience and what you're there to see is the same thing.
Sure.
Right? And so when you are in management, especially if you're in like fan experience or just like, how do we expand reach of the team and all of that, you have to have a strategy for how you attract the people who have the money in your pocket. But then you also have to have a strategy to attract and understand that most sports teams, I'm actually yet to find a sports team that is not, sentimentally speaking, owned by a city, right? So it's like the people who live in that city have to have some kind of affinity for that team. That doesn't mean that they have to come out of their pocket, but for the fact that like they'll be like, this is my city, and this is my team. No, like that drives your fan experience more. They end up owning the team, right? But the thing is, like for instance, you take any team in Ghana, right? The people who be like, okay, like take Fabulous, take Asante Kotoko, right? Asante Kotoko is an established team in Ghana, right? It's been around for a while. So like the people who are well off today who can come to Asante Kotoko games were people who were going to Asante Kotoko games or were interested in them years ago. But the thing is, like maybe they don't even have the physical ability to go to the stadium anymore. You have to target and find ways to generate interest in their children and like the area boys and like the young people who live in those communities. You have to find a way to engage them because they are the ones like, and let's now look past the money. If you are able to get all of these people in the stadium, my dad is not going to stand there and yell and scream and sing along and see Jama the whole time to support any team. He wants to sit there with his beer and just chill. And then when the goal comes, you may get a rise out of him. You will stand or and clap or something. But if you want the stadium to be like exciting, you have to target like the people who are in the bleachers or the nose, bleeds now. They're the ones who are there to have fun, and it needs to be a fun experience. So you can't go into it with just like, oh, one because we have to target this type of. No, your strategy for how you target fans has to be wide reaching, because at the end of the day, to fill a stadium, even if it's a 10,000 people stadium, to fill a stadium with 10,000 people, you're not gonna get people of one demographic. You're not going to get people of one, like identity. You have to be able to reach people across all identities, all demographics. And if you're not doing the work, you end up either attracting one versus the other, and then it becomes it's almost like it becomes you get to a point where you get attached to one demographic, and that becomes bad for you for your brand because if let's say Kotoko now becomes known as Esika 14, right? If you're at Kotoko, you're like, you feel good. Yeah, Esika 14. But Esika 4 are not going to the stadium every Saturday to watch you play. And then when you go to Mediama to go play them, Esika 4 are not going to get in their V8 and drive and come there and come and watch you play. But the thing is, because you're now known, that's become your brand as a team, you start suffering from it. So for me, I'm like, sports is that you have to remove those boundaries and figure out how do we get Kojo and Kwame, who are selling, and Katikik on the street, to say, hey, this weekend there's a game. I'm going to the stadium just as much as we're getting the minister and his buddies from the cigar club to also say, hey, this weekend there's a game. We're going to the game. You have to find a way to generate that interest equally. And it's something that takes intentional strategy to do. If you can't just put it out there and then hope for the best. If you put it out there and you hope for the best, you get what Borussia Dortmund and the Ghana All-Stars they got. It's mixed results every single time.
Well, thank you we'd like to commend folks coming in with comments. Kwame Boateng, we actually do see on YouTube saying you're watching live in color, and we appreciate you for staying tuned. Every question and comments that come in, we'll do our very best to address it. We have until 8:15 p.m. Eastern time to wrap this up. But let's go on to something probably just funny, but something that needs to be talked about. Kevin Prince Boateng just signed a 1-year extension with this team, and surprisingly, it's the same team that kind of gave a contract to one of the Guinea locals, Hertha Berlin, and he just signed a year extension with them up until 2023. And when he signed a contract, he actually bought 2,200 kebabs to give it out to the people on the streets and everything, and that's how he celebrated. But during this interview, he did make a serious inquiry about returning to the Black Stars. I just want to get your take on everybody's. I'm pretty sure everybody's probably going to be fed up. But it was commented on it by some of the sports officials in Ghana, and especially my very good friend Kwesi Appiah, aka Missy. I want to get your take on it. Given that you GFA or Ghana Black Stars like your baby, what's your take on him pushing to play for the Black Stars this coming World Cup?
Okay, so I'll repeat what I say always. The Black Stars is for any single male who can play football. If he's playing well, if by November he's on top form, scoring goals, performing, playing week in, week out, it's good. His experience might be needed. If he's well and the coach, to me, I don't think it's a problem. Anybody who is ready, playing high-level football, performing, no injuries, and will have an positive impact in the team, can join. I don't think anybody's an old player. Since if he's playing, he should. His experience is actually needed.
He's 35 years old. Remember that.
Hey, we have a 35-year-old who started the last 3 games Ghana has played. So don't use it against him.
Well, you are right about that. And he does have international experience. I'm talking about Kevin Prince. So.
Cellini playing for Italy at 39 years old, and he was performing. It's based on performance. So if he's playing well, for me, I think he should. In 2010, he was one of our best players. In fact, I would say he was our best player at that World Cup.
You're right.
he's still on form by November, I think he should be called. Of course, we are taking 26 players now, so maybe not. He can't play any game, all the games, but even the 10 minutes on the field can prove a point or do something, bring a difference. So I don't have a problem with him.
Me, I do. I have a problem
Okay.
because, like, I get the sentiment of what you're saying,
Yeah.
and usually I agree with that, right? But I think there's a factor to also be considered, which is I call it the Pogba factor, right? United right now will pay any money to keep Pogba, but United
Mm,
right now is happy that Pogba is leaving, right?
mm,
Yeah.
And it's because of the off the field antics. For
Yeah.
me, I'm like, we've had a go at it, right? It was a great run. I love Kevin Prince Boateng. I had a KPB jersey, all of that, right? There was a point, an inflection point, where he walked away because it was like they couldn't reconcile their differences, right?
Okay.
I get it. There's a new management team in there and whatnot, but I think one of the things that works in favor of that new management team is the fact that look, all of the nonsense that was happening before, we didn't have anything to do with it. So we're starting from a fresh slate. Once you start bringing these people in, one, the average Ghanaian is not looking at this, oh, new management team. Like, you know, he's still who he is, and I'm not necessarily passing judgment on who he is as a person, but for the fact that look, Kevin Prince Boateng has not had like a stellar club career, right?
Yeah.
true.
And like there are coaches, teams, established teams out there who gave him a chance, and then he would perform well. Like he went to Barcelona. I think even in that short stint, the few games he played, I'm like, oh, this guy should get more playing time. Come end of the season, they dropped him, right?
Mm,
So for me, again, not knowing what's happening in the back end, it's like there is something to indicate that it's not just his performance in the field that teams are having to focus on. There's a lot that's also off the field that teams have to focus on. And
yeah.
if we've been able to move past that era, and now we're now focused on a team that I relish the fact that he can come in there and be like a voice in the locker room. And Asamoah Gyan today is doing that without lacing up for Ghana, right?
Mm,
I think the last game, or I saw a video of him talking to one of the players, like shouting instructions. It's like you're not in the technical team, so sit down. Like you can do it off the pitch and all of that. So that seniority and experience and leadership that they need, if he really cares about, and that's the thing, if you're a player who really truly cares about the national team, you will volunteer your time and say, I know I'm not starting, but I'm still going to show up to camp. I'm still going to be there, even if you don't need me there. Kevin Prince Boateng has enough money to say, I will take care of my own flights,
oh
like
yeah.
wherever the team is going, and just so I can be there in the locker room and lend my support, right? It shouldn't always be that the moment that some made it that day comes around, they have to lace up and play for us. At the end of the day, for me, if you ask me, it's like when he walked away, that was final. And it's like it wasn't even to the point where he was kicked off. Yeah, he spoke later and said because of the scenario and the situation and what was happening, he felt like he was being driven out. So he just fine. That's all great and dandy. But at this point, it's a fresh slate on both ends. You focus on you, and because we tried it and it didn't work. What my thing is, and the reality of it is, he will come back. The smallest thing, and this is not even his fault, right? The smallest
Mm,
disagreement, everyone will be like, "Yeah, see, we knew this wasn't gonna work."
yeah.
Kevin is out here, and then he's gonna turn around and be like, "Oh, I thought it was new management. You guys are still doing the same." It might be something that is a very reconcilable difference that you can just talk about, but because of all of that baggage that comes with it, it's like Tinder. It's waiting to get on fire, right? So the
Mm,
small thing that happens, my concern is not just something small is going to happen and he's going to walk away per se. My concern is it's going to destroy the camp. It's going to destroy the locker room again. So I'm like, if we've moved on, let's move on. If the guy wants to be able to lend his support in Ghana and lend his experience to Ghana, nothing. I don't think Otuado or anyone would be like, hey guys, we're in training. Kevin Watson's coming through. He just wants to have a word with the team and things like that. Or he wants to hang around the team. I honestly don't think they'll say no. But to have him lace up and lead online, personally, I'm like, we need to learn to move on. We need to just find, okay, what are we working with today, and how do we make the best out of it? Because we keep
yeah.
going back to these old songs, and it's not hitting.
Well, I know, Mr. You probably would have, something else to say about that because I know, Jeff did not agree with you, but you go ahead and just get your word in before we move on to the next topic, which will probably be the final topic for the day about Ghana. Just go ahead before we move on to the last.
Okay, so yes, I agree partly with what Jeff is saying, but if he's playing well, he's playing week in week out for Hertha Berlin, and
Mhm.
everything. His performance on the field is showing that he can deliver for us, and he speaks to the coach, and the coach gives him the guidelines or the what he needs to do in the team, and he's ready to follow it. I think we need the best team for the World Cup.
Yeah, but
Whoever,
but I mean, see, the best team doesn't have. It's not only what happens on the pitch. The
yes,
Mm.
yes,
best team too has to vibe in the dressing room.
yes. So what he did on the pitch and off the pitch in 2010 can speak for itself. In 2014, going, he had issues, and there were genuine concerns. He
Hmm.
had to fight for the team. So, and I feel that is what we Ghanaians here didn't agree with him
Mm.
on, because he's the one who was vocal and he had to speak for the team, and they thought, okay, this guy is disrespectful. They started treating him bad and other things. So,
Hmm.
because for a reason, if he's that bad, how come he has survived or he has played well for his team? And this, apart from injuries, he was delivered. He went to Barcelona. He did well. He went to AC Milan, performed better and other things. So if he's playing well, and I think he loves football. That one, you
Hmm. Of
all
course.
Mhm.
know. But of where he grew up, his background had a lot of this gang and other things with him. So maybe he has an influence of him on him. But he is German or German race. Our coach is also German born and raised. So maybe he will understand him. So if he's doing well, but I honestly don't even think he will get a place in the team now, because
I think I was gonna say that. I think that's why you're saying it. It's like, well, let him come and try out, and I think you're confident that he won't make it.
I am very sure, because we have a lot of younger and energetic and disciplined players now. Sule Muntari was the most indisciplined player in our national team from way back, but he always performed well on the pitch. That's why he was always called.
Mm.
Sule Muntari 14 slapped a management committee member, but he was still called. I know. I mean, sometimes Balotelli has been worse, but always playing for his national team.
Balotelli is not a model for anyone.
Sometimes it depends on the coach who is leading the team. If he wants performance on the field, when you come, just make sure deliver for me. And so if
So,
it's
thank you guys. Though our last segment, our number one, our first shot goalie Wallacott actually just had I don't know if it's a promotion, but he just got a new contract to promoted. I mean, a higher league. So from Division 4 down to League 1, which is a Division 3 in England. He just got a new contract with Charlton, and obviously he does have to fight for the number one spot because when he was with his previous team, he actually sat out I think the last few games, even during the promotional game that they actually had due to performance or whatnot. But you know, given that Richard Ofori addressed the media and said that he's ready for competition for the with Wallacott for the Black Stars first choice since Otuado's during the Otuado's interview, he said he has not really named his starter for the for the goalie position. Now, Richard Ofori actually advised the Black Star to go into the World Cup. Now, this where I'm confused. Now we have 10 minutes, right? So, I'll give everybody 4 minutes to kind of wrap it up. So, there's the thing. Richard Ofori told the team, including the young players coming in, that we should go into the World Cup with the mindset of an underdog and try to shock the world. Do you guys think, in my own personal opinion, do you guys think it's just a way that he's trying to psych them to just go in there and play as hard as they can, or this is just a way to excuse themselves when they come back home and they perform very poorly?
Uh, I'm missing go.
Because the
You
thing
can
is,
go.
you tell the whole nation we're going in there as underdogs. Okay, you're an with an underdog. If you get beat like 20-0, no one cares because you're an underdog.
Okay, so on paper, we are actually the underdogs. We are the
Yeah.
lowest in the World Cup. Going into this World Cup, we are ranked 60th, and that's the lowest going into. So obviously we are underdogs. It's not like Richard Ofori is lying about. We are actually the underdogs. We are the lowest ranked. Saudi Arabia is actually ahead of us.
Qatar is ahead of us.
So he's not lying. So we should go into it. And you always say with the group we are in is a very difficult group. So we are looking at team building. So for me, this World Cup, we shouldn't expect a lot. We shouldn't expect anything. If a miracle happens, yeah, that's cool. So for me, yes, of course we are. And yes, with this keeper, Wallacott signing for a team, Charlton Athletic, I think that's a promotion on his part because he was in the League 2 and now going to League 1. So, well, I hope he gets playtime, and I think he signed for Charlton Athletic because he knows he's going to get playtime.
Yeah.
Because there are other teams on the table for him, and he mentioned it, but he wasn't sure of his number one position. So, yeah, I think
I'm always looking for any national team, especially playing for Ghana, to be at a very top level and not necessarily. I remember one coach saying that Milo definitely saying that just because you play international doesn't make you a good player. You need to fight to be on the first team, not just be used as a practice squad player. So I actually do like the idea of at least. I mean, hey, for the sake of media, the coach did say that he's gonna fight for the number one spot. But again, let's hope that it does. Jeff, you go ahead and just tell us your mind about Richard Ofori's comment and what you think about Ghana going in there as underdogs.
I mean, I think Amicia said it. Like that, an underdog is like anyone going into a competition that everyone knows they have the least chance of winning. That's us. So I don't think it's about Richard Ofori's opinion. He just stated what is the truth. Like he just stated what is reality. So yeah, we're underdogs, and I think my biggest concern is if there's anybody who doesn't understand that, that's a bigger concern. Like, do you actually think we're going into this with like a good chance of coming home with even forget the cup itself, like place? Are we gonna placement into second or third? No. Hey, we're nowhere near it. Hopefully, we're able to get closer to it, but I don't even see us making out of the group stages. So you saying, hey, I want us to go into the World Cup, with an underdog mentality. I'm like, duh, like you better, like you don't have an option. So you can say, yeah, no, let's forget the underdog mentality and let's go in like contenders. You're not a contender. You're going in line to yourself. So yeah, they are underdogs. I just hope they understand that they are. But then I think this is the issue with the underdog mentality. In of itself, it's not a good or bad thing. It's how you react to it. Some people hear you're an underdog and then they do go in there and lose confidence, right? It's like people will go in there and jump on the field and then stare at Cristiano Ronaldo as if he has a halo around his head, and we will get killed, right?
Yeah.
And then for some people, once they hear they're underdog, they feel underestimated. They feel like, okay, you're not really seeing me for who I know, for what I know I can do. So I'm here to show you, right? So being called an underdog means nothing. It's how you react to it. And so I'm hoping that one, they understand the concept of underdog, and then two is like it's what fools them to actually say, you know what, we're being heavily underestimated. Maybe those rankings are not fair because I mean FIFA rankings are bogus. Like Czech Republic was number one and Ghana beat them. So this wouldn't be the first time we're going we've gone into World Cups where it's like, yeah, we're not the lowest ranked team, but every game we played, we were ranked lower than the person we played. So to me, this doesn't make any difference. It's like same thing as 2014, same thing as 2010. We're not going in as favorites. So yeah, like I just hope that is imparted effectively onto the players. And the whole idea of underdog is a Western term. It's like a Western concept. And so I'm hoping like our management team, which is now heavily represented with European and people of European and Western influence can be able to get that thought across. But yeah, for me, I'm just like, Masa, it doesn't matter if you're an underdog or not; it's how you react to it.
Yeah. Let me add up. Jeff, I agree with you. And that's why I always say that going into tournaments, we need good psychologists. We need like good sport
Yeah.
psychologists. We should let the players know that we know we are underdog, ranked lowest, but we are Ghana. I always say this thing: Ghana is made for tournaments. Sometimes you
Mhm.
always surprise. We get into tournaments and we don't have the best teams, but we always go far. We always do something. We always prove a point. We should let the
Showboys.
players that we are Ghana. We are made for tournament. I always say this. Sometimes in 2010, I'm sure we never expected to go that far. Even in our first World Cup, we were just going for fun. We met Italy. As you said, Czech was ranked second in the whole world.
Mhm.
Serbia was eighth. We beat them. It was
Yep.
just Brazil, of course. And that, as I say, we are Ghana. Brazil is Brazil. We
Yeah.
can never win against them. So we need to put that into the players' head. Fine, we are ranked the lowest, but we are Ghana.
I mean, let me see. Look at what happened with Ghana and Germany and Rio, right? It was
Right.
Yeah.
like Germany came into the game as in like, okay, we've played the tough games.
Yes.
Like that was a mentality. And so
Yeah.
for me, I'm like, show that video, right? And show that, okay, they came in there like psychologically underestimating who you are. They looked at it as we played the tough games. Here's like an easy give me game and we're gonna win it and then we'll move on. And then the whole tournament, the only team they didn't beat was us.
Yeah.
Yes.
So for me, I'm like, those are. I think you're right. It's like
And
Ghana
that,
is like we're not a consistent team, but
wait,
once we're in a tournament and the lights come on, we can dance.
we
So
did.
hey,
Yes,
yeah.
and they rated the best game in that World Cup. And to tell you, in that match, the whole Ghana camp was in chaos. That was when they were waiting for their 3 million from.
Hmm.
And that was the players didn't even train before that match because they wanted to see. They refused to talk to the president, then John Mahama and everything, and they still delivered. So we should
Yep.
let the players know. Yeah.
Now, see, there's the thing. I agree with both of you guys 100%, but I just don't want the mentality of, just planting it in the player's head that, we're all, I mean, obviously, anyone who knows the game of football looks at our standards, look at our, just how, we've actually just regressed a few years and know that, Ghana football has actually just gone down tremendously, right? You can look at it and say, obviously, we're the under. I just don't want them going in there with that mentality that when they do bad, like when they play horribly, they come back with the excuse or the justification. Okay, we were underdogs, so we weren't even expecting anything, major, from us, and that's the only thing
Sam,
that.
I think to what you're saying, right?
Mm,
And it's like going back to Mrs. point around sports psychologists, right? It's to me, it's like that. The thought process is that within the team, we have to acknowledge the fact that we're underdogs, but we also have to
maybe you probably
acknowledge
shouldn't
that.
have come out to the public like that because I
No,
know
yeah, but
folks
that's what I
out
was gonna
there.
say.
Yeah.
But to the public, expectations are still there, right?
Right.
Saudi Arabia is going into the World Cup hoping to win it. Everybody going in there is hoping to win it. So,
Mm,
and even if the players who are playing are not, the expectation back home is that you're hoping to win it.
yeah.
So I think to what you're saying is like, yes, we're underdogs. Underdogs really just being the fact that we're underestimated. People don't think we can do much,
Mm,
right? But we
mm,
still have an expectation back home that we need to live up to. We
yeah.
have been able
Yeah.
to do it before, and we're here to try to do it again.
For
So now,
sure.
how do we do that again? I think if that's the mentality, we give ourselves a chance. It's like
Yeah.
we before we step on the pitch, we give ourselves a chance. If it's not, then that's when I think that underdog mentality now becomes something we're using negatively to serve as an excuse. We're using it to kill our own confidence and our own spirit before going into games. So again, it's how we use it. We have to use it. And then at the end of the day, it's like I don't know if a Ghana team even has a sports psychologist on the team, but that's the job of the psychologist to really make that
Yeah.
clear.
Well, next week we're definitely going to talk about a couple of topics. I know Joseph Yaboa, I believe is from Germany, asking, is it time to move on from certain players of the team? after this World Cup. I'm pretty sure that we could definitely just tackle that. We could probably just talk about that for about 2 hours, given that we do have Kosi with connections out here with us. Again, before we leave, we're just gonna do something amongst the three of us. We're gonna do a periodic, prediction based on how things are going. So our first game is actually with the Portugal on November, I believe is. I'm sorry, it's on November 24th. So Jeff, you go first. We do have Ghana, Portugal, South Korea, Ghana, and Ghana, Uruguay. We just want you to give us your prediction of that game, what the score line will be, and then we'll wrap up with that.
Ghana, Portugal, 3-1. Edin Ketia gets a goal.
So Portugal 3, Ghana 1. Now, mind you, based on how we do with our friendly games, we can actually just get periodic until we're just trying to see how we've been thinking about the team's progress. So South Korea, Ghana, Jeff, go ahead.
South Korea, Ghana. I'm looking at like 1-1. Because to be honest, like I look at the South Korea team, I'm like they're very well structured, but they don't have bite. Once you take Son out, if we can have someone who can contain him, we give ourselves a chance. But I don't see us going there and lashing them 2-0, 3-0, or something like that. So I'll give myself, and as to the underdog mentality, like I don't see us. There's not a game you're going to put out there, especially in our group stages, that I'm going to have Ghana as the outright winner. That's just me managing my own expectations.
Again, this is progressive, prediction as we go on. But hopefully things are going to change based on the. I know we do have Madagascar coming up. Actually, no, that's next year. Well, those are the only friendlies we have coming up. But anyway, we do have Angola coming up. 2 games around September. So Jeff, Ghana, Uruguay, go ahead.
Sorry to make a comment on the Madagascar. After we lost to Comoros, I think we need to stop underestimating the team. Just as much as we're talking about being underestimated, we also need to stop underestimating on that team. I will say, I'll go out on a limb and say Ghana versus Uruguay. Not to say that we're because we're going in there for revenge, we're actually going to do better. But I actually think that mentality might help a little bit. So I'm going to put it at 2-1.
In favor of Ghana?
In favor of Ghana, yeah.
I like that. Misty, why don't you go ahead? Portugal, Ghana, before we log out.
Yeah, Portugal, Ghana, 1-1 draw.
Oh, okay. Korea, Ghana.
2-1 for Ghana.
I told you this man loves Ghana football.
Yeah,
he has a lot of hope.
I will top the group at 7 points, so trust me.
We'll top the group.
I know what I'm saying.
I mean, you're driven out
the team build up will come up then. Uruguay, Ghana, full revenge. I'm telling you, we are in for it. 1-0.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I like that. My prediction is Portugal, Ghana. I know that during our last game, Portugal did beat us. I'm actually going 2-1 in favor of Portugal. South Korea, I'm actually going 1-1 as well. And, Ghana, Uruguay, I'm going 3-1 in favor of Ghana because I think Ghana is really out for blood this time. I think that's probably going to be the only time I'll root for Ghana, out here, given how critical I've been of them.
Even the 2-1 that I'm giving Ghana, I feel like we're going to have like 2 or 3 red cards, but we'll still win.
Portugal used the playoff route into the World Cup. Portugal is not that good as a national team.
Right.
Yeah, but that Darwin Núñez kid will kill us. Like I know
anything can happen.
Diego Jota is out for blood, given not Diego, United.
Mohamed Salisu, Tariq Lamptey,
Bruno Fernandes had a horrible season. I was listening to one of his interviews after the United season, and he's out for blood. Given how bad United played. But anyway, it's definitely something we could table off for next week, given that we do have a lot. We try to see if we get some more time, since there are 3 of us now. But again, we do like to thank our viewers. Again, folks on YouTube, everyone on Facebook, people watching up on StreamYard, as well as our audio platforms. we'd like to thank you guys for joining us once again, and we do appreciate the love and effort that you guys actually put in. Everybody around the world, again, I'm Sam, here with Jeff and King and Misty. Until we see you guys again, have a good night.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Chimafidi non kotu Era1 radio Samupe Jumpe dietia Chimafidi non kotu Era1 radio Oh Ayum pam chima Chintu Asam pam chima Chintu Era1 chima